Alright, welcome neighbors, Miracle Farm 1927 Homestead, and so I don't know if anybody of y'all noticed, but when we went to the tractor show, I was planning on driving this truck. And you notice we didn't drive this truck. My cousin let us borrow his truck, and I just helped him haul, which it worked out okay. But I'm wanting to get this truck going, and I ain't no telling how much money we've spent to all the stuff we've done to it, and I put a nice expensive tag that the government makes you put on, but some reason that didn't help it run no better. So we went to once we got it off street legal, we didn't want to drive it none until we got it street legal. Anyway, when we took it out on the road, it was just skipping and sputtering and just cutting up, and we didn't know what was wrong with it, so we thought the points was burnt up. This is a points truck. So anyway, here it is. It's a 366 big block. I probably said that before. Anyway, we put new points in it, and that didn't help. New coil, that didn't help. Put plugs and wires in it, and it still run the same. And we finally decided we put a condenser in it. We ain't never had no problems with condensers before, but we put a condenser in it, and this thing run just like a cut cat. I mean, it run good, and it run good for about a day. And then I took it up. We was gonna go get a tractor with it just to test drive it, and the thing went to skipping again. And so we couldn't figure out what's going on with it, and it's acting like spark. It's the only thing we can figure out, because it's getting plenty of fuel and it cranks and idles just fine, but just when you're going up the road, it sputters and spits and backfires. And it takes it, usually like this morning we cranked it up and it run just perfect. Then you go up the road a little bit and it cuts off. So we just figured, well, we're just going to we're going to start, getting rid of stuff to see what's happening. So the best thing to do with fire is get rid of the points distributor. And that points distributor ain't no telling. I guess it's the original one that came in the truck. So we're just going to go ahead and put HEI in it, which is high energy ignition. And that gets rid of the points and the coil and the condenser. You get rid of all your your problems. So anyway, we pulled the distributor out, so it's over here. Pulled the distributor out, and we got some HEI here. So, as anybody's ever messed with a Chevrolet, you see that gear right there? So the gear has a pin through it, and on the end of the shaft is a little screwdriver end type thing. That's what drives your oil pump. So this is an oil pump shaft right here. This is your intermediate shaft. And it's just got a little thing on it right there, and she goes on there, and that's how the oil pump drives. Well, we got this distributor. This is the distributor that come out of it. So show the end of that one. There ain't no drive. You can't really see it good on the camera. It ain't really focusing on it. But that won't fit in there, and it's got I don't know what you'd call it. It looks like a dog's head, I don't know. I can't really see it that good.
Flat on one side.
Yeah, it's flat on
two
sides, and it's open in the middle. So this pump's just riveted in. So we was thinking about changing that gear, but then you'd have to cut off the end of your HEI, because that's your end of your shaft, and put this gear on it. But it seemed like we didn't want to. This does run, so we didn't want to mess up a new distributor and cut off the end of the shaft. And we've talked to people, you can't get a distributor like this unless it's rebuilt, and we don't want to buy a rebuilt one because it'll probably be in the same shape this one's in. So it took forever. We've talked to people that's been around Chevrolets all their life and ain't never seen nothing like this. But so I ain't seen a video of it. There was one forum, a guy said that he had the problems with this. That's the only thing I seen. So it was for like 2 or 3 years. The heavy duty big blocks with the points distributors had this weird coupler for your oil shaft, your oil pump shaft. So
we'll show you that shaft in about 3 days when we get the oil pan and all off.
Yeah, so what we gotta do, we're hoping it'll work. So we're not even sure if it's gonna work. We're gonna try to replace the intermediate shaft because these distributors are the same length. So somebody was saying this is what you'd call a tall deck big block, and somebody said, oh, the difference is, somebody was saying that it won't work because your difference is in your the length of your shaft here, but it's not. They're both the distributors are the same length. How they do the difference in the height is the actual, I've been learning all about these, the intake is actually shorter. So we measured like we said, and
it's a total of about 7 3/4.
And this one is
7 3/4 to the bottom of the gear.
7 3/4.
Okay, to the top of the gear, it's 5 7/8. This one's 5 7/8 to the top of the gear.
So we've done, like I said, we've done measure all this.
We think it'll work. So, we're not sure. This has got to fasten to our oil pump.
See, this has got the other end also to show that it needs to be angled down. It also has a screwdriver end. And somebody told us, oh, that'll work because all Chevrolets have a screwdriver end on the oil pump. But we said, yeah, but most Chevrolets have a screwdriver end on the distributor too. So we're hoping our oil pump's right. If it's not, we're going to have to put another oil pump in it. And we're just hoping that's right. You know, you never... But anyway, we've been kind of upset. We like Chevrolets, but we've been kindly upset about this because we've spent so much money and time on this truck and it's not doing anything for us. We don't know what's going on with this distributor. Like we said, we've run a wire straight from the battery to it. We've done everything we can think of to try to get this distributor to run, and we don't even know if it is the distributor, but it's the only possible thing because it starts. We was thinking the camshaft was out of it when we first started running it, and because we couldn't do nothing. So anyway, like I said, there is not a video of this. So hopefully this will be a little bit of information on anybody that's wanting to do a HEI switch on these trucks. You cannot do it without doing something, either changing your gear out or putting a shaft in it. So anyway, now we got to pull the oil pan. I drained the oil I just put in it. Just changed the oil in it. So we're hoping this fixes it, but we're wanting to... Once we put this HEI in it, we're pretty confident that it'll, it ain't going to be the spark. If that's going to get rid of spark being a problem, HEI, that's what I got on my truck. And most of our vehicles with these old V8s have HEI, and they work just perfect. This truck's always give trouble. It's always burn up points, but usually he always filed or put new points in it and always went back to running. But she didn't start running this time. So anyway, we'll be back with you when we get this pan off, and we'll see. Like I said, we're just hoping this new intermediate shaft will work. but we might have to put an oil pump on it, and that won't be that bad. But anyway, we'll be back with you here in a little bit. Alright, so we got the oil pump, oil pan off. It's dirty. It's got a bunch of carbon and stuff in it. Oil ain't been changed in a while. Well, I changed it the other day, but it didn't get changed very often. So anyway, I'd like to probably just change it again. We got the oil pump off, and we're gonna look at him. Alright, so here's the funny end we're dealing with. It's supposed to look like that, and that's what it looks like, and it's gonna work. Hallelujah. So I need to compare these two shafts, and they're about the same. Which is that bit of difference is going to be taken up by this gear engages after. See how that one? Yeah, it engages a little bit after. That's the only difference. So, oh my goodness, we've been worried about that pump wasn't going to be made like a regular Chevrolet pump. So anyway, whew. So that's what we're dealing with. See the difference. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Like I said, we've talked to people. There's only one person that we talked to that seemed like he knew anything, and we didn't even talk to him. It was a friend of ours, and it was a guy, he built motors drag racing, and he's only one I knew that knew anything about that. So anyway, that's good news. So we'll be able to change it right over. Alright, so like I said, we've got our situation kind of going under control. I'm scraping the pan gasket right now. It's going slow like it usually does. So I want to tell you a little bit about this motor while I'm sitting here taking a break. So this is a 366. So this is a very, very tough engine. These ain't got quite the power of a 454 in the same era, but these are very, very tough engines, and it'd be a neat. I got another one I'm thinking about making it into, like putting it in a car, because these are just extremely tough. So a few things, I'll tell you a few things that make them pretty tough. First, they had governors on them, and that's been deleted off this one. Anyway, this is a tall deck engine, and what that means, as far as I know, this one has an extra ring on the piston. I'm pretty sure it's got an extra ring on the piston. It also comes with a square bore intake there, so it can fit. It has hollies on them from the factory, and so those are just smoother. These were, you know, they kind of rev out smoother than the Quadrajets. And so anyway, these are tall deck engines. So like I said, I'm pretty sure that means they have an extra compression ring. It's a shorter stroke than a 454. This has the same bore as a 454, but it's only 366 cubic inches from stroke. It actually, they only put a little bit of, they don't have much stroke at all, and that's why they're safer at higher RPMs. And also, while I was up here, I didn't realize this, these have 4-bolt mains. So this is a 4-bolt main, big block. It's got a real short stroke. You can see how short that stroke is. It's got a really short stroke, and we already have a double roller timing chain in it. Real short stroke, and it has that tall deck. So these are just extremely tough engines. So it runs good when it runs, but anyway, if this don't fix it, the next thing I guess is going to be the carburetor. We just have no idea, like I said, what is going on. This thing's just baffled us, and then we was going to go ahead and, like I said, get rid of the idea of it being sparked by putting HEI on it and then running a new wire to it and make sure it's getting plenty of power. We're going to put a you know, a tester on the wire, make sure she's getting enough power, and then 2 HEI. That'll get rid of our spark issue. If it's a spark issue, we're going to get rid of that completely. That's not going to be anywhere in our minds. So if you're ever wanting to do a HEI crossover on one of these trucks, make sure you have the proper oil pump shaft, because I don't think you can put a HEI in it, but if you find out some way to squeeze one in there, I don't know how you would, but if you did, you ain't gonna have no oil pressure, because there's no way to drive the oil pump. Anyway, I gotta get back under here and get this gasket scraped, and then we'll be able to put the oil pump back on it, and then we're going to make sure when we get this thing cranked that it has oil pressure, because that's a important thing. Whenever you change oil, you have a big risk of, you know, locking up your engine if you do not have an oil pump, or if you don't have an oil pressure gauge. Thankfully this truck has an oil pressure gauge, so we'll be able to know as soon as we start this engine if we have oil pressure. Because if you don't have oil pressure in like a few seconds, you better shut your engine down. But anyway, hopefully alright, so we're back out here. As you can see, I don't know if you can see them clouds. He's looking like it's going to start raining here pretty soon. Wasn't supposed to rain till tomorrow, but the weatherman don't really know what it's doing. Anyway, we took our new HEI, and we just wanted to make sure that it was going to work. So we hooked a battery to it and just put a little rig on it just to make sure she was going to work. And fire was jumping off everything. We had a spark plug in it, and it looked like it was going to work. So Daddy, he's finishing up. I got started scraping yesterday, and he's going to finish it up, and he got the pan clean yesterday. So we're going to try to get the oil pump back in. I don't guess I'll show y'all putting the oil pump back in. It's just any video Chevrolet oil pump going back in is the same thing we're doing. It's just sticking it up in there and putting the bolt in it. It ain't no big deal. So anyway, we're going to try to get the oil pan gasket scraped, and I think we might throw the distributor in and then put the oil pump in, but you know, that's just, hopefully now that'll just be like putting any other Chevrolet distributor in. So we'll be back. Alright, we got the oil pan back on, and I got the oil back in it, and I don't know if you can see it, but back there we got the new distributor in, and we wiggled everything, make sure it was all connected, and it is. It took us a while to get that stinking oil pan back on, but I think we got him now. So I'm just letting that drain a little bit. And anyway, she should be getting all the wires put in the right place on the cap, and we'll stick them on there. And all you gotta do is run a power wire. It's the same wire from that you'd use off the other one. You just got to put a different end on it, and you're ready to ride. So we'll be back with you in a bit when we're ready to crank. We got the distributor in, and so I want to see if we're hoping our firing order is right. So we'll make sure. First thing we're going to do is make sure we got oil pressure. Oh, gotta hook up the battery. I unhooked it. Gotta get the battery hooked up first. Probably have to hand time it a little bit. Get it to fire. Alright, so she should fire. Oh, she hit. It's running. She's running kind of slow there. She's kind of running a little slow. Probably too low. I think I'm seeing a little bit of movement in the oil pressure. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's a little bit low. I think she's definitely low. There she goes. She's better now. All right. Well, it runs.